Hello, members. Thank you for joining me again. You are stuck with me this evening, I am afraid. Firstly, well, I'll come to that in a minute. Firstly, let's where are you watching from? We've just got, I've seen a few come through already. We've got Manchester, we've got Hull there. I saw them because all flicking through now. When hang on, there was one from Chile, Philly. There you go. James Burke from northeast US, Philly. That's Rocky, isn't it? That's where Rocky comes from, I believe. Stu is in New Zealand and he's tuning in, having a cup of tea because it's morning out there in Wellington in New Zealand. Thanks for joining us, Stu. There's loads of people in here. Warwickshire, I've got Brian from Scotland. Brian's here. Cheers, Brian. Yep, Hull, I've said Hull already. West Suffolk, Virginia, USA. Look at that one. Robert Hughes, thanks for joining us, Robert. Anyway, look, there's loads of people from loads of different places, and I honestly thank you all for joining me this evening. It's gonna be good, fingers crossed. First time I've done this presentation, and so this, the album. Dun, dun, dun. See if you can get that one. I've made it is hard, but there is a clue because there's a film that's come out very recently with that singer-songwriter. Okay, if you can give me the name of the artist, that'll do, because it's quite a hard one actually. If you can give me the album as well, then like bonus points. Right, listen. Tonight's session is the Beginner Photography Roadmap, your path to success, right? It's the talk that I'm going to be doing at the photography show. So it's great for people that can't get to the photography show this year and see us. It's at the Excel in London, the 8th to the 11th of March. Come and see us if you are coming. If you're not coming, obviously I'm going to do the talk. It's going to be a bit weird, really. Oh, here we go. We've got Bob Dylan here. Loads of people got Bob Dylan. I don't know who did it first. It looks like maybe Nigel got in there first there. The album is Not Blowing in the Wind. No, it's not that one. It's actually called, I wrote it down, it's called Nashville Skyline. I think it's an obscure one. Anyway, whatever. There you go. Well done, guys. Right, yeah, so the talk at the show, Michelle's got her tickets. I'll see you there. It's interactive, right? Because when I'm doing the talk, there's people right in front of me and I can talk to them and I can ask them questions, and which is what I'm going to do to you guys tonight. The difference is they can actually just answer there like that. You guys have got to type in, and there's about a 20-second delay. So I'm not actually sure how it's going to work, but just be prepared, right? Get pouncing on that keyboard for when I ask questions, okay? There's also going to be bits in this presentation that you may well already know from a book or from the beginner's course. Only bits, but there may be bits that you already know as well. So just to be aware of that. Right, now, there we go. That's it. And we'll crack on, shall we? Let's crack on. Yeah, why not? Let's go over to the screen. Oh, the other thing that I was going to say, actually, let's come back to the screen here. The other thing I was going to say, I'm going to answer questions as I go. Like I'm trying to, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to keep it interactive. So if you have got a question, put it in the comments. If I don't answer it, then you'll have to ask me again at the end because there's only me tonight. But, I will try and make it as interactive as possible. And I've got an idea for the School of Photography to do these webinars where I can actually get people to talk to me live. So, watch this space. That's something that I'm thinking of right now. Right, hang on. I've actually got to share my screen because for some reason it bloody turned itself off. Technology. Here we go. Right then, guys. What if there is a way that if there was a specific path to the success for beginners photography? What if I could tell you to do these steps and you will succeed? Well, over 20 years I've been teaching you guys now, not individually, but just in general. And I think I've kind of figured it out. So I'm going to try and share these tips with you tonight. Okay. Now, for those of you that may be new, that don't know me, I'm going to just go through a very quick CV, if you like. Okay. I do educational speaking for schools and colleges. Obviously, I'm an author of that book, teacher of photography, and a photographer. Not that I do much of it. It sounds weird, but I am a teacher of photography now. I think that is my job title and the owner of the School of Photography. 1997, I started in this game. I know what you're thinking. No way, you don't look old enough, but I am old enough. That's when I started. All right, that's when I started my degree, as a matter of fact. And you start getting jobs and getting paid back then. In 2002, I started teaching, and I've taught every single year, most of the time since that year. Okay, that, my friends, is a lot of teaching under your belt. Degree in photography, postgrad certificate in education, PGCE, qualified teacher status. We'll come to that a little bit later on. And an advanced skills teacher in photography. Now, if there's teachers watching that was teaching back in the Blair days, that was like a qualification that you could get, and only 1% of teachers in the whole country passed as a what they called an advanced skills teacher. And what it did was it gave you the ability or the qualification to go and train other teachers, basically. That was a really proud moment in my career. I'm the founder of TSOP, as you know, over 260,000. Yes, we worked this out the other day. Since the very start of TSOP, over 260,000 people have gone through TSOP, have signed up to us. That's to do just single courses, membership and whatever. And that goes back all them years. So that's really good. The book there, #1 in the UK a few times, #1 in the US the other day if you was watching the socials. So that was good. It's really building in the US actually. So that's that book there. Grab yourself a copy. You know what to do. YouTube, we've got over 245,000 subscribers. So hopefully, with all of that behind me, what I'm going to tell you in this talk is going to be valid. That's what he says, right? So this talk is actually aimed at beginner photographers. So it's aimed at photographers that are at the start of their career, if you like. And that is if you want to be a professional, or actually if you just want to take good photos. It's the same principles at the very start, okay? Right, let's go on to the next slide. Now, this is where we're going to test out this 20-second delay, okay? Now, John Riley, you haven't got time for a pint, okay? We've got to get on with this question. What is photography? If you've watched the beginner's course and you know the exact answer that I'm going to say, don't start typing it in. Just give me it's a very open-ended question, actually. And to be honest, there isn't a wrong answer, okay? So what is photography? I want you to write it in there, and we're going to test out this theory of seeing how slow it is by the time I see your answers. In the meantime, what shall I sing you a song or something like that? And okay, here we go. Some of things are coming through. Right. Yep. So we've got capturing memories here, capturing light. Well done. Capturing light again, capturing images of the world. Anything that you want it to be, like a cup of coffee, maybe, or something like that. A picture of a cup of coffee, yes. Capturing a moment in time, balancing light, painting with light. That's clever. Creating a moment in time. Okay, loads of answers coming through now. Now, of course, memories there. Of course, it is all of those things. Okay, you know, these are the common answers. Art form, capturing memories, records history. Of course, it records history, a way of just capturing a scene, and so on and so on. There isn't a wrong answer there, you know. But essentially, what it is a science. It's the science of capturing light. Okay, what's this? Hang on. Let's see. I don't know, see if I can do this now. What is this here, guys? Let's see how long you've got to type in. So hopefully you're typing it in, because I'm going to crack on anyway when you've typed it in. You know what that is? Yes, you've got them on your feet, and that's a box, right? Shoe box. No, it is. There we go. A shoe box. You are right, Stephen. It is a shoe box, but you're also wrong, because it's not that, Danielle. It's not an old style box camera. It is a shoe box, but it's actually been turned into a camera, or what's called a camera obscura. So I'm going to take the lid off. I'm going to show you that there, all right? There's a piece of tracing paper, and sit at the front there. I don't know if I'm getting in the way. There's a lens at the front there. Okay, it's a shoe box. At the back is a hole to look through. Right, I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to put the lid on. Oh, hang on. I'm going to put the lid on. If you were sitting in front of me right now, I would hand you this and you could look through it. But now what I'm going to have to do is try and do something. This is going to be hard, to be honest, because I can't see it. Can you see that TSOP sign through there? You might be, yeah, I think you can. You just about see the TSOP sign through that box there, right? It's a camera. So I can look through this here and I can see my office. Over there, I can see my framed Beatles record and the print and signature and everything like that someone bought me. It's lovely. Anyway, that's what I can see. That's what this is. I'm going to open it up again. And it's just a shoebox. Put the lid back on and it turns into a camera. Light travels through that lens and it hits the image plane. And in this case, it's just a piece of tracing paper. But that, my friends, is photography. And it's the same with your Canon R5s to that. Light travels through that lens and it hits an image plane, okay? Now, it's a science. Photography was invented by scientists, not artists. Now, you need to learn, this is the first point of your road, learn the science or craft of photography. Then you can be creative with that knowledge. You get a camera, you might take a lucky shot, you know, the sun's setting and it all looks really good. But that's not going to consistently happen unless you've got control and that knowledge of the science of photography. Now, hang on. The craft of photography has been the same since its invention in the 1830s, and it will be the same forever. On your screen now, on this screen now, you can see the different image capture devices. Yes, cameras from 1830 all the way up to now, right? The process is the same. The science is the same. We're going to look at some pictures. I might full screen it here so you can see it a bit better. Okay, so these pictures were taken in the early 1900s. We'll start with this one by Lewis Hine, and it was taken in 1908. Now, we're not talking about the subject matter here. I'm just talking about the technical parts of this image. If you look, the foreground of this image is blurry. The background of this image is blurry, and the young girl there is sharp. Okay, what this is showing is a shallow depth of field, and a shallow depth of field is created in one part by an aperture. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is taken 1906. It's the aftermath of the San Francisco earthquake here. It's sharp from the foreground to the background. Everything in this image is sharp. There's no blurriness to it at all. Now, to get an image like this, you need to use a small aperture. Okay, a small aperture gives you a long depth of field. This image here, you can see the little girl there, the young girl. She's nice and sharp, but the boy to the left of what I'm looking at, left of the picture, is blurry. Now, what's happened there is that boy is moving and the girl is staying still. And what that means is that the picture has been taken with a slower shutter speed. The boys moved as the picture was exposed to light. That's controlled by shutter speed. Now, all of these old photos, 1912, 1986, whatever, they show that the capture of light is the same all them years back to now. Depth of field is controlled by aperture, movement is controlled by shutter speed, etc. Okay. Now, when photography was first invented, it was captured onto paper and metal, then glass, then plastic film, and now it's a digital chip. But the process, right, of light going through your lens, I'm going to show you another one now. Let's go to full screen. Oh, wrong button. Wrong button. What button? Sorry, I'm on my own here, so I'm trying to do everything on my own. Look, this is a camera. You can buy these. This is actually a camera obscura. Ta-da! So the process of light traveling through a lens. Oh, look at that. I can actually focus into the TSOP there. Check that out. Light traveling through a lens and being captured is the same. Now, in this case, the light is stopping on a piece of tracing paper. Look at that. It's like magic, right? These are magic boxes. Absolutely. These camera obscuras, the camera that I'm looking at right now, your camera that you've got in your camera bag, they are magic boxes. They are capturing light. It is magic. Imagine the first people that saw the first photographs. It would have been like the biggest technological leap that you could ever know. All right. Now that process from that camera obscura, from this shoebox here to, I'm looking at the XT4 there, to that, it's the same, right? Back to the screen. And it will continue to be the same. And it's because it's a science. It's the laws of physics at work. And you or me or anyone cannot change the laws of physics. Even AI. AI can't change the laws of physics because it's the laws of physics, okay? It's light going through a lens and being captured by an image plane, okay? You need, this is your first step on this path, learn the science of photography, not your camera brand. It's such a rookie error, and I get it so many times, and it's actually, you know, it's not your fault, to be honest. It's not any beginner's fault to say these words. I want to learn my camera. All right. Now, how many people say that rather than I want to learn photography? I've bought a Canon. I need to learn this camera. No, you need to learn photography. There is a difference, because any photographer, any professional photographer with any amount of experience can pick up any camera and use it, because you just flick it into manual, you start playing with the apertures, the shutter speed, the ISO, and you just know what you're doing, right? You've got loads of other little buttons that, you know, like focus, back focus button and whatever button and this button and that button. You know, that's a different thing. You've got to learn photography first, all right? Okay, here we go. The next step on your journey is obviously kit. You're going to need some kit, but this one is actually really easy. You ready for this? Get a pen and pencil, write it down, because this is what you need when you're a beginner. A camera with manual settings and the ability to change lenses, right? That's it. You can get them on eBay for 100 quid if you want to, right? Or you can spend thousands of pounds if you've got that kind of money. It doesn't actually matter, because it ain't going to make your photography any better. When you are starting, you just need a camera that's got manual settings and an interchangeable lens. And I'm going to give you like an example. Literally the other day, I had one of our members email. I get these emails all the time. What lens shall I buy? What camera shall I buy? What this, what that? So this particular one was, shall I buy the 35mm lens or the 56mm lens? Now that question is like, how do you answer that question, right? To someone who's a beginner, in their head, they're just saying what one's better. But when you know about photography, what you know is that they do different things. So, you know, the 35mm is more natural. It's as your eye sees. This is on a crop sensor. The 56mm compresses the scene, blurs the background a bit better, and stuff like that. So it's not as simple as get that one or that one. And what the mistake is for people is that they don't know the fundamentals of photography. So you don't actually know what to buy. You may well waste money, you know, go and buy them lenses in the future. But it brings me nicely onto the next slide here, because this is very important. You need to learn the fundamentals of photography first before you start spending all your dough. Unless you're a millionaire, then just do what you want, right? But before you start spending all your money, learn the fundamentals of photography. And this is one thing that I have noticed over the years with adults, okay? It's understanding how to learn. So that's part of actually learning in general. You know, you've been out of school for, I would imagine, a few years, right? Not me, obviously, a couple of years for me, as you can clearly see, right? But you've been out of school for a long time, and learning, understanding how you learnt is gone. That's gone. It's gone. But think about it. You can read, you can write, you can do maths, you can do all of these things that you take for granted, but it was done in a very ordered way. little bit at a time. The alphabet, you know, the phonics, I think they're learning at the minute, the kids. And then all of a sudden, you can read and write. Now, all learning is the same. Learning is layered, okay? And this world of YouTube and stuff, which I'm going to come to in a minute, it kind of, you've got so much information out there, it's throwing at you. But if you haven't got the fundamentals, you know, so learning is layered. So it's the foundations, it's them bottom bricks. Think of it like a wall. Them bottom bricks is what you need first. And if people are chucking things at you everywhere and you ain't got that foundation in place, you're gonna just you're just gonna trip over yourself. You're gonna get more questions than answers. Okay, so photography wise, you know, there's no point learning about apertures and depth of field if you don't know about focal lengths, because that also controls depth of field, right? So you can be watching videos or reading something on an aperture, and then go out and practice it, but still you're not getting blurry backgrounds and everything. And that is because you haven't learned the foundations, all right? So don't start picking stuff from up there when you haven't made the foundations. Understand how to learn. It will speed up your learning going forwards. A good course, good books, good online learning. Yes, guess who does that, right? And that's all good, you know. But these are for people that may not use us or want to use us or whatever. Make sure that they're established and they're well trusted. And this is important, right? Now, I know what you're going to think. Well, I'm preaching to the converted with a lot of you because obviously you're members. But if there is any non-members watching, you know, you're going to just be thinking, he's just trying to sell us these courses and blah, which I am, you know, I'm a businessman at the end of the day. But this actually is a really important point, right? Make sure that the education that's being delivered to you is from qualified teachers. And here's the test for that, okay? If you will probably know a teacher in a school or a college, it might be science or math, whatever they do, I don't know. Ask them this question. Is teaching the same as doing? Just ask them that question, right? Not one of them will say yes, okay? There is a massive difference between teaching someone what to do and showing them what you do, okay? Which is what most people, when they try and teach someone, they just show you how they do it. Now, this is how I do it, you know, this is how I do it. Go on, go for it, you know. And the difference is massive. And just, you know, I know you're thinking I'm just trying to flog you a course, but go and find a teacher that you know and ask them that question. Is teaching the same as doing? Okay. And they will say no, I can promise you that. So make sure that whatever education you are receiving is from someone that can actually teach. And, you know, I know it sounds silly, but it is true. Understand the difference between YouTube and paid education, which I think people kind of don't when they first start. We get loads of business from YouTube, right? Loads of business from YouTube because YouTube throws up more questions than answers. And this is why YouTube, and we play this game. What I'm going to tell you now is the game that we play, or that I play on YouTube. YouTube is about engagement. Okay, you're on YouTube now. It's a live video, but it's about engagement. So the title needs to grab you. The the thumbnail needs to grab you. The first 30 seconds need to grab you. And your focus when you're making a YouTube video is to make it engaging. It's not my focus when I'm making a course is to sit down, look at how people learn. I know how people structure it properly, communicate with the photographer, and then get my education knowledge into there, get their knowledge out, structure it. And it takes ages. And there's a world of difference between the way I make a YouTube video and the way we make a course, because I need to make sure that course is going to give you knowledge, because if it doesn't, you're not going to carry on your subscription. You're not going to buy another product. You're not going to buy the book and stuff like that, right? It's all to do with money. Of course it is, because it's a business, but I'm just telling you the absolute truth here. And just understand the difference. Don't go down that rabbit hole. There's loads of great stuff on YouTube, loads and loads of great stuff. I learn loads from it, but that's because the foundations are there, So when something new comes out, I can just go onto YouTube and grab that information because I've already got the bricks. I've already got them bottom bricks in place. Right, there you go. That's it. Avoid Derek from the Camera Club. I do apologize if anyone is called Derek that's watching me right now. Now, what I mean by that is, you don't know when you're a beginner, you don't know what you don't know. So any information that comes your way, you're going to think it's gospel. And Derek from the Camera Club is the know-it-all person. They know everything about pixel density of the new Canon R5 Mark II, and they could recite the manual to you, but actually to describe the feeling of photography and stuff like that is not there. So you do want to avoid the blind leading the blind scenario. That's what I'm trying to get to there, right? So avoid these people that they don't really know what because they've learned from the blind as well. And so just avoid that. I've seen it a million times, so I do know. I'm not just making this stuff up. And Cora Imparo, I am still learning. Michelangelo said that when he was 87 years old. And the point I'm making there is, I've just sort of had a go at YouTube and things like this. But actually, once you are knowledgeable, then you're always learning. AI has come out, hasn't it? New features in Lightroom, etc. You're learning all the time, but you need that foundation in there in the first place to be able to just continually build on it. All right. So there you go. Understand how to learn that and learning the fundamentals of photography. That is your next step in your roadmap. Pardon me. Inspiration. Being inspired gets your bum off the settee of a weekend. It helps you practice. It helps you learn, and it will make you a better photographer. So where does inspiration come from? You've got the classics, of course, social media, Facebook and Instagram. Now, their algorithms are actually good for what we want. Social media has got such negative kind of connotations, and it is bad. I think you can sit there for ages watching, dogs falling into ponds and stuff like that, right? But the good part of social media is actually these groups of people that are into the same thing, communicating and sharing and looking at this sort of stuff, right? Now, what the good thing is, if you start liking images that you like, following photographers that you like, it will suggest to you similar content, and you keep liking and share and commenting and following and etc. And all of a sudden, you're surrounded online by stuff that's going to inspire you, stuff that you actually like. And so that's the good thing about social media. The bad thing is that you're just sitting there like that, gomming out on a phone that's about that big. So you need to be doing this. Go to galleries. The amount of people that don't go to galleries that are into photography is astonishing. And you're here now watching this, and I can tell you now that not many of you go to galleries. I just know it because I've seen it for years and years, and I have to say to people, go to galleries. Now, in the UK, you are so lucky. Hang on. Because this is just London here. National Portrait Gallery, the Tate Gallery, the National, the V&A, the Saatchi, They are free, man. If you go to Paris or Barcelona, or you have to pay to get into their museums, right? In London, you walk into them. You know, me and you, if you're in the UK, we pay for it out of our tax for everyone else to enjoy and be educated by art. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that we do in the UK. So go and use that resource. This is why, as research shows, there's loads of research out there. An Instagram view or social media view is 2 to 3 seconds. Okay. In galleries, it's 15 to 30 seconds, which you might still think to yourself, actually, that's not that long, 30 seconds, but it is 15 times longer on average than an Instagram view. And the reality is, actually, some you look at for more, some you walk past, etc. Right? But what going to a gallery does, it gives you deeper insight. So you've gone from looking on a screen like this, or even a little screen like your phone, to standing in front of a Turner painting like what that is there on that picture. That's me and my little girl looking at Turner's in the Tate Britain. And it's just so amazing that you're just standing in front of these pieces of art. And not only that, you can read about the artist, you can read about the artwork, or you can get the headphones that you wear now. And it's just bloody brilliant. And the amount of people that don't go to galleries that are into photography, it's a lot, right? I know you're all sitting there now. I wonder if anyone could admit it. Just put it in there if you want to admit it. We won't judge, because I know I've sat there before when I used to do classes to like loads of people, and not many people put their hand up. So let's go on to the next photo. Now this is something to talk to you about. So we're still on inspiration here, getting inspired. Now, don't like or dislike. It's very easy to walk around a gallery and go crap, especially with modern art, etc. But it's not about that, actually. It's about analyzing imagery. It's not about the aesthetics. It's about analyzing the imagery. We've got a few people there saying they're guilty for not going to galleries. I haven't been impressed with the photos I've seen in local galleries. Steve saying I haven't been impressed. Well, Steve, this is for you. What I'm going to tell you right now. And actually, maybe it's not the local galleries you want to go to. Get on a train, go to Edinburgh, I don't know where you live, Steve, to be honest, but London, Edinburgh, where you've got these big galleries, Leanne's going tomorrow. Well done. It's not about liking or disliking. It's not about aesthetics. It's about analyzing imagery, because what you've got to do is expand your brain. All right. Someone that just looks and walks, this crap, your brain's going to be like that. Someone who analyzes, your brain's going to be like that. Okay. And analyzing things really helps you learn. It really inspires you to do work. And it's just really good. So it's not hard to do neither. You just ask yourself, write this down, take a piece of paper, go to a gallery. What, why, how? What is it? Why has it been produced? How has it been produced? Then 3 questions, and you've analyzed. Okay. This is a picture, we're not going to analyze this, but I just wanted to put it up there because this is a really good example of like brilliant portraiture, which is not aesthetic, but really powerful and really deserves to be analyzed. So I'm going to let you guys do this. This is your homework. This is Hannah, and this is Changing the Conversation Project by Sujata Setia, who is one of our photographers. And I mean this, and I really deeply mean this. I think that she is one of the best contemporary photographers / artists currently right now. And I'm not just saying that because she's one of our photographers. You just got to You've got to, look at her stuff and follow her on Facebook or Instagram, whatever. And she won the Sony World Photo Award in the category of creativity. Now that's big. It doesn't get bigger than that. It doesn't get bigger than that. But we are going to analyze this picture here. So, right, can you get ready with your keyboards, because you want what, why, and how on this image here. I'm going to full screen it and talk a little bit. Okay. So we as a group are going to analyze this image. Well, you are. What is it? That's simple, because you're literally describing it. Okay. Why do you think it's been produced? Why is it here? Why is it a valid piece of artwork? And then we'll talk about how. Now, the how is where you need to do a little bit of research, which I've already done for it, which I'll come to in a minute. So for you guys, it's really what and why. Okay. Let's just see. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard because I know people are thinking, what can I, as I know it is hard, because this is it. This is your brain expanding. There is a thing in education called Bloom's taxonomy. You need to look it up. Describing something, and it's like levels of intelligence. Describing things like, this is a picture. It's a supermarket. Okay. There we go. It's a supermarket. We're getting some good stuff now. Right. Well, I'm going to come to keep putting it in there. So that's easy to do, to say it's a supermarket, it's a photograph, it's this, that, and the other. But you need to start. That's your starting point. But it's down there on your intelligence level. And analytics, analyzing things, is right up the top of brain power. And then using that analysis to create your own work is the pinnacle, is the top of that triangle. Okay. So if you can say what it is, analyze it, get something personal from it, go out and recreate it, or do your own version, or be inspired by it and create new work. It's called synthesis. That's the very top. Okay. So it's describe, analyze, and synthesis, which is the very top. That's how you become brainy. Right. Here we go. So we have got here, it's a supermarket. Done. It's a supermarket. It's rows and rows and rows of products that are sold for 99 cents, hence the title. That's basically it, really. And I'm going to come, there was a few, there's a lot coming up here. There was a lot here, sorry. And then we go to why. So Anna, it's a commentary on consumption. It absolutely is. The rise of consumerism and greed. So we're talking about why now, aren't we? So we're really looking into it. So it's not about, some people will be looking at this going, wow, that's a wicked shot. Other people will be going, oh, don't get it. That's not the point. The point is to analyze it. Okay. I like this one, security camera footage. That's cool. Too much choice, a cheap market here. Indoor market to show the huge expanse of it. Okay, so we've got that. We've got the what, and we've got partly the why. God, there's loads coming through now. Well done, guys. Now we've got the how as well. So colourful, symmetrical there. Two halves, horizontal and verticals. So this is sort of like how, as in how it's been composed, which is great. So that's part of how as well. But let's go back to no, I'm going to carry on with the how. So it's actually digitally manipulated as well. It was taken by Andreas Gursky, who's one of the most famous photographers in the world, actually, or artist, shall we say. It was produced in 1999, and it's a digitally manipulated image called 99 cents. Now, the idea came from Gursky was looking at a supermarket in LA where he was living, and kind of just saw this kind of consumerism in his head. All right. Now the picture's actually set up. So this is not a real supermarket. It's been set up to take the picture to look like one. Now, when you do that, you can organize, and symmetry was coming up there a minute ago. So there's a lot of, look how linear it is, you know? So everything is like, you could put a ruler on any of this and every line would be either vertical or, you know, horizontal. Okay, so that's a part of the composition. And then bits have been added in the back. So there could, I mean, I don't know the specifics, but there's this section here could be added, that section there could be added. I know that people in the picture, there's people in the aisles, they've been added to the shot digitally as well. Now this is the interesting part, because they call it like hyper realistic. So Gursky's idea is to create, so what he says is that he needs to manipulate the pictures to make them look more real. Okay, so you're right, he's trying to get across this mass consumerism of products that you don't need. Right, they're very colourful, don't they? Taste nice. There's some Kit Kats at the front there, right? You know, but you don't really need them. They're not that good for you. Don't forget, they're very cheap and they're sold in mass and they're stacked and stacked and they're all competing against each other. You know, consumerism, capitalism, all of these words are coming out when you look at this image. But he says he has to manipulate his images to make them look real, and they call it hyper real. There's been a mirror been put at the top actually as well when you take this picture, and it's absolutely fascinating when you get into this type of work, right? And incidentally, it was in 1999 when this was published. It was in the top 100 most influential pictures of all time, top 100. And in 2006, it was the most expensive photograph ever sold at that time. $2.2 million, around about that. Okay, so there you go. If you want to buy one of them, that's what it's going to cost you, right? The point is that your brains have been expanded now, whether you like that or not, right? You know about it, okay? And there you go. And that's what you need to do when you are looking at artwork. Don't just flick past it, whether you like it, whether it's aesthetic, whether it's not aesthetic. If it hits you in some way, learn about it. Okay, study the greats. Now again, I need some honesty from you guys. How many of them names do you actually know? Now when I say, and this is not you know, half of the greats, it's not even a quarter of them, you know, this is a small part of all of the great photographers that's ever walked this planet. Okay, now I want you to be honest, because if you was into photography properly, you would know a massive chunk of that, you know, 3/4, at least half, you would know that. Okay, now this is the point I want to make. If you was in, I want to see if anyone's going to be honest there, right there. Don't worry, it's not, you know, you're not being judged. If you was in to Formula One, which I am, there was a wicked program last night on the telly, the F1 launch. If you was into F1, then you'd know Jim Clark, Jackie Stewart, Jenson Button, and this, that, and the other, because you're into it. You know, it's part of you. You'd know that one of the best races that I ever saw was in 2011. Jenson Button, he won that year in the Brawn car, a Canadian Grand Prix. He was last place. He was 21st at lap 40, you know, so he was coming towards the end of the race. And he pitted 6 times. There was crashes, there was rain. It was just what a race. He won that race from 21st on the grid. On the last lap, on the last corner of the last lap. So if you're watching, so because you're into F1, you know that race because it's an absolute classic race. The point I'm making is, if you're into photography, which you guys are, right? Because you're here looking at me now, you should know a massive chunk of them people, right? You really, really should. So study the greats. That goes back to going to galleries. You go to galleries, you'll find these names, and eventually you'll get good books. You'll have loads of books like me back there. Look at that, look, tons of them. Right, there's a few here that someone saying none, someone saying 10. Daniel, oh, hang on, sorry, pressed the wrong one. My granddad told me about Cecil Beaton growing up. Yes, well, he's fantastic, mate. He's like, You know, one of the best, one of Britain's best. That's what I would say. Anyway, there you go. That's that. So good. Be honest with yourself. And sticking on inspiration. You don't have to take inspiration from photographs. And in fact, a lot of the times you probably won't. So this is the picture that we've printed. I've got it printed now, but I've actually seen it. It's massive. It's 6 foot. It's bigger than 6 foot tall. We got that printed there. And that was for the photography show. The inspiration was Victorian vintage fashion. I just wanted it to look timeless. So we took inspiration from old fashion, you know, fashion photos. And we've got all of these photos. We spoke to Rosie there. I said, Rosie, we're going to do this shoot. You know, what clothes have you got? Blah, blah, blah. Da, 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 da. And then it rolls down, and that's the initial inspiration. So that inspiration didn't come from any photograph at all. It just literally came from fashion. On the right here, you've got Jack Lodge, who's doing a talk at the photography show. There's the questions here saying, what books would you recommend? There's actually tons there. I can't really, maybe if I get time at the end, Louisa, I'll come back to that if I get time at the end. But we're running sorry, you're here now. You're here now. So if you'll have to record EastEnders. Right, we've got Jack Lodge here from our forest photography course. He's inspired by an artist called Albert Birdstad, as an American artist, and painting in the big Yosemite National Park in America. Anyway, that's his inspiration for his pictures. And you can actually see it when you look at his pictures, because it's about the light source, and it's about subtly bringing your eye to the light source, right? Or to what the light is doing in that image. And if you haven't done his course yet, you should watch it. It's really good. It's really good the way he takes a picture, edits it, and just draws your eye to, you know, a light source within the image. Well, his inspiration comes from these old paintings from the 1800s. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Take inspiration from anywhere. You don't have to just use photography. Okay, so that's your next step on your roadmap. Get inspired and keep being inspired. The next thing is the importance of post-processing, which I think people underestimate. I really do think people underestimate the power of post-processing. The amount of people that say it's cheating, or they want it to look as real as possible, or this, that, and the other. You know, you're on the wrong footing there. This is a picture by George Harrell, which is one of the greats I showed you a minute ago. This is Joan Crawford in 1931. Now, just think about this, right? All of them old film stars, them black and white pictures of them old, they all had flawless skin. So what you're saying to yourself, if you believe that they haven't been post-processed, is that everyone back in the 1930s and in films had flawless skin. No, of course they didn't. They were retouched. This is where airbrushing comes from, in fact. And you can see here the before and after here of this particular picture. So it was done back then. The great Ansel Adams. Someone was talking about that a minute ago there. Randall, I can see that. Yeah. The great Ansel Adams. You know, people who don't know about this kind of stuff would be saying, yo, no way would he post-process his pictures. He's a purist. Well, of course, he did post-process his pictures. He actually had a zone system of printing, like a meticulous printing system that he used to go with, right? Hang on a minute. So in his prints, he would want pure blacks, pure whites, and all the shades in between in this zone system, 10 shades in between. Now, to get that, you need to burn, you need to dodge, you need to mask areas in, and then you get a perfect print. Okay. Let's go to the next one here. Someone's Di Nugent is saying, isn't there an exception for news photography? Well, you would think so. I'll just put that over, Di. You would think so, but you need to look into that a bit, because actually sometimes there's not, and there's a whole new story, mate. But yes, you would like to think that if it's a news picture, and I would imagine that most of the time they are just snapped and put into the paper and that. But look at the Vietnam War and the way the photographers documented that. Okay, there's a little tip for you. Not everything was as it seemed. There's a picture from the night photography course. Not really much gone on there, like, you know, it's just Lightroom stuff, but look at the difference that it makes. You're pulling out what's actually there in the file, in the raw file. Here's an example from the headshot photography course. If you're not post-processing headshots, then, you know, you're not going to get the job. It's as simple as that. You need to make it look good for the client. You need to put in as much time or even more time into your post-processing, your learning of post-processing, than you do your learning of photography. So once you've learned the fundamentals of photography, get yourself into post-processing. That is the next step on your roadmap, okay? The next step after that is constructive criticism. Every beginner wants or needs feedback on their work. And this is how you get it. You can get proper one-to-one feedback and ongoing feedback. You go to college, you go to university, it's going to cost you 5 to 10 grand a year for that one. You can use photographers online. They charge, I know Jack does sessions as well. He does them for about £60 an hour, I think. £50 to £100 an hour for a one-to-one session online with photographers. Or you can join online groups and forums for free, but you need to be in big trusted groups. Now, that's what people think, that they're going to go onto these groups and they're going to get feedback on their work, and, you know, that's going to be good. Don't work like that all the time, but you can get good free feedback online if you follow these tips. So firstly, learn the fundamentals. Do not just start whacking pictures up and you don't even know what shutter speeds do, what the ISO does and everything like that. Okay, learn the fundamentals first, because this will give you an insight into posting your picture and asking for feedback. Add details of the picture, settings, background, lighting conditions. Did you use any specific techniques or equipment? This one is important. What were you trying to achieve? Know what you was trying to achieve and describe that in your post. All right, that is really important. So firstly, it informs you going out to take a photograph, but secondly, if you haven't achieved what you've set out to achieve, then you're going to get good feedback, because you can describe, this is what I tried to achieve, help me out here. So a bad example, some shots from a trip to Greece, CC welcome. I've seen that so many times. There's nothing to reply to that, because no one knows what you wanted to do. They, you know, go, oh yeah, that's nice. Looks nice to me. Yeah, looks like a nice place. Well done. All right. A good example, sunset picture of a beach in Greece. Here's my settings. At the time, the sunset was rich in color and it made the sky a deep orange, but this look hasn't come out in this picture, and I want to know why. CC welcome. Now, if you're giving it's only a couple of sentences, but if you're giving that description to your image, people will help you out. I know there's lots of idiots online, but actually there's a lot more people that would help you out, especially if they know how to help you. So for that one, you could say maybe your white balance wasn't set correctly, you know, exposed into the sun or whatever. And, you know, you can easily give good feedback on that one. Okay. So you're going to want feedback. You're going to need feedback, but help yourself and help others by following them tips. I've seen it a million times. I'm telling you now, it will help you out. Keep out of groups that are toxic. The problem with the idiots that you get out there is only, like I said, there's only a few of them, but they shout the loudest. Now, some groups just won't kick them out. They'll just keep them in it. So you've got to get out of them groups. Remember this. This is really important. Opinion is not fact. even my opinion, any professional person's opinion is actually not fact. So, you know, if you achieved what you wanted to achieve and someone else don't like it, well then, you know, that's their problem. You achieved what you wanted to achieve. Imagine Ansel Adams there asking for constructive criticism, or Tracy Emin, you know, the artist Tracy Emin. Can you, can you give me some criticism? Of course, they're not going to, you know, they know what they want to achieve and they're going to achieve it. I don't really care what anyone else says. So just remember that opinion isn't fact. Don't ask friends and family. Don't ask friends and family. I'll give you an example. If you've got kids, you know, your daughter comes up to you, your son comes up to you, what do you think of this, Dad? What do you think of this? You know, what are you going to say? You're going to say, that is really good. And you're going to go on about how good this is and that is and blah, 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 right? It's the same if you ask your mum or your wife or whatever, you know. So don't ask friends and family. I know it sounds easy, but it's not the one to ask for feedback. I can tell you that now. And let's go on to the next bit here. Oh yeah, so that's your next road there. That's your next path, constructive criticism, getting good constructive criticism. And then the next one, and the final one, is practice and evaluate. Now, a lot of people just say practice, 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 but it's actually practice and evaluate. Spend the time evaluating what you've done. The constructive criticism, it comes back to that. So if you've taken a picture and it's not come out the way that you wanted it to come out, then you need to sit down and spend some time and evaluate it. You know, write the settings down. When I started photography back then in 1997, or even before then, I used to, because it was not digital then, it was obviously film. And I honestly did this. This is the honest truth. I would have a little book, like a little notebook in the camera bag, and I would take a picture and write down the number of that picture, because it would be it would be film. You know, you'd have to, the films were numbered back then. For those people that don't know, you would have numbers on your each negative as it went through. So you'd write the number down, and then you'd write the settings down. So I'd write down F11, blah, 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 blah. So I knew that what I took, the settings that I took for that particular picture, so that when I got it and printed it, and if it didn't come out right, I could go back to my book and go, oh, right, that's what I did then. So that's what's gone wrong. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So evaluating is really important. So, and then practice as well, obviously practice and evaluate. So if you play football and you're in a football team, how many times per week do you go and practice? Yeah, I know people that are in football teams. They go on a Wednesday night and then they play a game on a Saturday. I mean, that's twice a week. Are you going out twice a week and taking photographs? You want to play golf? How many times a month would you practice? I know golfers, they go out at least once a week. So do you go out at least once a week to take photographs? You know, if you can go out every week, go out every week. If you can go out every fortnight, go out every fortnight. If it's only once a month, do it once a month. But basically, just do it. All right. We've got our photographers under here. I wanted to show you these people because I work with these people, and they take a lot more photos than me because I'm running a company. But Ben, he's always out. He's just come back from Iceland. He'll be doing a talk at a photography show. He's just come back from Iceland. Took some fantastic pictures out there. Sujetta is continuously pushing her craft. Mr. Whisper there, Bao, he's doing a talk for us as well. So is Sujata. You watch that course, the street photography course, and it's a really good tip was he'd just change up his gear if he was like feeling kind of, you know, when you feel like, oh, it was getting boring or can't be bothered or whatever, then he'd just swap out his gear, you know, put some like random wide angle lens on and go out with that and just see what difference it would make. And it inspires you and gets you to do new things and actually kickstarts you again. So that was important. And then obviously Andy Rouse there, wildlife photographer, he's always out taking pictures in all sorts of places, just following them online. But the point I'm making is that practice, that practice, evaluate is extremely important for beginners and continuously as you go through. Famous quote there, I had to whack it in. Your first 10,000 photos are your worst. Okay. Henri Cartier-Bresson. The best, one of the best out there for a fact. Love looking at his pictures. All right. Okay. Let's conclude your path to success as a beginner. Learn the science of photography, okay? Not your camera. Understand how to learn and then be fluent in your fundamentals. So understand that you really do need to start from the bottom and work up. And if you've been flicking about up here, you're going to have to go backwards. You have to go backwards and start from the bottom. I know it might sound like you're going backwards, but you'll go forwards again so much quicker. Be inspired and analyze imagery. Study from the greats. The power of post-processing. Do not underestimate the power of post-processing, and get good feedback. And remember, always remember, opinion is not fact. Okay? Practice, evaluate, practice some more. I'm going to have a drink. And then stick with it. You will fail. You will fail again. You will fail again. But when you nail it, you will love it. I can promise you that. If you have a true passion for this art form, you're going to succeed. And I mean that, I don't mean that as a professional photographer, although that is the case, but just as an enthusiast. And I see people come and go, right? But the people that have really got that passion will just continue to go forwards because they can't do anything else. It's as simple as that. I mean, you know, they just have to go out and do it. All right. Yeah. And that's that. And then any questions? This is where we're going to take some questions. So that is the presentation. That is your path to success. All of them stepping stones there. I mean, let me know what you think. Where questions come, get your questions coming in now as well. But this is what I just wanted to. I wanted to put all of what I've just literally thousands of people that I've taught, and I've seen the people that succeed, and I've seen the people that don't succeed. And this here is the path to success. Just follow it, and you'll be all right. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. My garden is full of blooms at the moment. Too many to photograph, but I'm out there every day in my happy place. Yes, good, Stu. Good stuff. Must be warmer out there as well, I would imagine. There we go. Safari Lex. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Food for thought, definitely. Never hurts to revisit the basics. Certainly doesn't. Let's have a look for some questions. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry, I'm going to just go to this one here. So start putting don't forget your 20 seconds behind. And there we go. Now we're getting some questions coming through. Good. Right, guys, let's start with this one here. Nigel, how do I decide which type of style of photography I should concentrate on? It's whatever you like. I like doing a bit of everything, to be totally honest with you. I like being outside, taking pictures in the forest, but I also like portraiture. I mean, for me, people in some way or form is what I like the best. It's what I like to look at the best as well when I look at artwork. But it doesn't mean that I can't go out, in the springtime and try and get some lovely landscape pictures or seascapes, because it's just wonderful to do. I suppose, well, Nigel, I don't know if you're trying to do it for a career. If you're trying to do it for a career, you should try and concentrate on one thing. But if you're not, don't worry too much. Just enjoy the process, and something will shine out to you, and that would actually come from what you're being inspired by. Do the social media thing. Start liking pictures that you like and see what else it suggests to you. And then eventually I would imagine I'd put a bet on this. Eventually it will start showing you more seascapes or more portraits or more headshots or more black and white photography or whatever And then that's what's going to, then you'll start to think, maybe that is what I like the best. And then you can go down that route and start going to galleries, start being inspired. Okay. Is there any way I can get help with Lightroom, not just using it, but sorting out the mess with different catalogs? Simon, I don't know if you're a member, but we do go through that in the Lightroom course. But I will say this: if your pictures are all over the place on your hard drive, on an external drive, on your camera card, on a camera card that you used 6 years ago when you went to Tenerife or whatever, you've just got to take the hard route, man. And you've just got to do it one drive at a time. And then you just move them within Lightroom, get them into Lightroom, move them into one root folder. This is what I teach you in the Lightroom course. It will be there's no quick fix. I know that's what people think, because I get the emails all the time. It must be a quick fix because it's the computer and computers are marvelous. Well, no, that's not. This is like, imagine it as a physical tidy up. You know, you've got prints in that drawer over there. You've got prints in that drawer over there. You've got to manually get them all together into one drawer. There's no quick fix, Simon, but we do teach you how to do it in the Lightroom course. Right. What kind of macro lens is recommended for animals behind glass? That is beyond me, Danielle. I would not have a clue. I've never heard of that question before, but someone else might be able to help you. If you've got animals behind glass, the one thing that will help you is a circular polarizer, because it will get rid of the glare. All right. Okay, we've got here joining. Oh, thanks, Brian. Here we go. Go on, Brian. Joining the school that's helped me develop since joining. Yes, and we've seen that, and we've enjoyed seeing your development, Brian. That is for absolute sure. Alexander, in my opinion, focus on subjects you find interesting. Yes, Steve. Okay, good stuff. Nigel, this is answering Nigel's question earlier on. Yeah, whatever gives you the most pleasure. Absolutely. If you like being outside, Brian's a good example, actually, up there. Brian likes to hike, in the hills where he lives. And there you go. That comes, and then lights photography as well. Them two things meet up nicely, don't they? Okay. How do I get confidence up in photography? Right. Do you know what? I'm going to come to camera for some more questions here. This is a good question, and it's one that really, really gets asked a lot. Right. I'd love to show you some of the pictures that I took first when I was like, 20 years old, 19 years old. Well, I thought they were great. They weren't, obviously, but the point is that you're not going to be taking fabulous, brilliant, sharp, perfectly exposed pictures at the start. All right. Unless you're a genius. Some people hit the ground running, but most people need to get things wrong, Penny, right? Some people need to get things wrong, and then you evaluate, and then you put that right. Okay. The confidence thing is, who cares what other people think? That's what you're worried about, putting it online and everyone going, that it's not great or whatever. Who cares, man? Just you're learning. So you put it up, you say, I'm learning. This one I'm pleased with, this one I'm not so pleased with. Ask them, you do what I said to you in there. It's all there in that presentation. You go to the constructive criticism section there, and you say to people, I wanted to achieve this, but this happened. What did I do wrong? Was the settings wrong? Was the lighting wrong? The other thing I would say there, don't underestimate the amount of effort that you have to put in to get a good picture. If you want a sunrise in the summer, you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, you ain't going to get it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of effort going in. Thanks, Mark. Even more hungry photography. It's good stuff. What's this one? Not a question as such, but since being with TSOP, I relearned and corrected my understanding of photography. I admitted to myself that I didn't really know the basics. Do you know what, Stuart? That is so important to bring up here. That if you've only got to go and see our feedback to see how many people say that same sentence, right? And you know, it's so true. It's so true that people think that they know, that not know everything. They think they know what they're doing, that they're not a beginner. That's the one. Sorry. People think that they're not a beginner because they've been doing it for 2-3 years or whatever. But in fact, they've been learning wrong. And that's the learning thing that I told you about. Understand how you learn. You know, this is the stuff. That's what I've seen. I've seen it so many times, Stu. Thanks for bringing it up. Is there a list of photographers you would recommend? There are thousands. Okay, Tracy, here's where you start. It's very, if you like portraiture, for instance, you could literally type into the internet famous portrait photographers, and then some will come up, and then you can start there and start looking at them particular pictures. And once you start reading about one photographer, it will start mentioning others as well, you know, and it will send you down this like path to looking at decent photographs. You know, there's obviously books that you can buy. I've got loads here, but this is personal to me. So there was people on here asking about books. I'll grab you two. 1 minute. 1 minute here. This goes to what I was saying to you before about pictures with people I seem to like the most. See this book here? Okay. Can you see that? It's a photographer called Nan Goldin. I'll Be Your Mirror. Literally kind of one of the books that sort of changed the way I looked at photography in the 90s. It's cost me, now bearing in mind I was a student, where's the price on here? I think it was something like, it was close to £50, okay, back in like 97, 98. And I bought it because that's how much I loved looking at. Because it starts from an exhibition, man. I went to an exhibition, there was her work, and on that book there, that's one of the most famous documentary, photo documentary books. And it basically documents a group of friends in the 80s, her friends, Nan Goldin's friends, who got AIDS and died of AIDS. And it's like this journey from the beginning to the end. And it's absolutely powerful, unbelievable stuff. And then there's this one here. It's another, I went to see this exhibition in the Tate Gallery, the Don McCullum retrospective. It was a couple of years ago. And that is mind blowing. I mean, so you've got an exhibition where you have timed entries into this exhibition. And, you know, so there's queues of people. Absolutely packed. You're walking around this exhibition and it's bloody silent, man. You could hear a pin drop because the pictures were so powerful. I mean, we're talking like Don McCullum's been to some of the most horrific places in the world to document them photographically. You cry, you cry watching it. The power of photography is unbelievable. So you just got to start, Tracy, is the point I'm trying to make there. There's, if you like portraiture, people, documentary, that sort of stuff. There's a couple of books. I've got loads over there. What other ones? There's a good one for you. This one here, this one. Right, I think everyone should have a copy of this in their repertoire. But again, it's people mainly. It's not like landscape stuff. It's a Magnum. It's the Magnum book. Okay. So if you don't know what Magnum is a group of photographers, again, press, documentary type work. And this book, every page, I better be careful what I open up here. Every page has got a different photographer, and you can read about that photographer, and then that might lead you on to, to learning about that particular photographer there. So that's cool. So hopefully that's answered 2 questions at once there. Loads of stuff going, loads of people still online, so I'm going to keep going. What's this one here? Some people say to be good, you have to use manual settings. No, that's not true. Others say it's okay to set that's not true. to be good, you don't have to use manual settings. You have to know how to use manual settings because it generally will help you out in any situation. If you're having trouble, if you know how to use manual, you can go into manual. But if you're doing, let's take street photography, for instance. When I'm out doing some street photography again, I do that as well because I like it. It's documentary stuff. I will use an element of automatic settings. So depends on the lighting conditions. If it's nice and bright, I will use aperture priority and put it on a wide aperture because I like that shallow depth of field. So I might put it on f2.8 and then let the camera do the rest. But if it's bright, it's going to give you a fast shutter speed anyway, and it's going to give you a lower ISO anyway as well if it's bright. But the reason I can put it on aperture priority is because I know that it's bright and I'm going to get a fast shutter speed. I already know. I've got that understanding. I've got the understanding of the fundamentals. You see, if it's low light, if it's dark, cloudy, raining or whatever, then I'd go on to shutter speed priority and stick it and make sure it's on 125th of a second because I want to keep everything sharp, and I'll have the aperture light as wide as I can, and it'll be the ISO that's on auto because that'll be taking up the slack in the background. All right. So, Robert, good question. I hope that's answered it for you. There is loads and loads of questions here. I definitely ain't going to be able to get through them all, I'm afraid, guys. What's this one here? Okay, yes. Unique fora. How can I take pictures in without feeling people, without people feeling some type of way? What does that mean? Hang on, I'm going to read it. How can I take picture in public spaces without people feeling some type of way? I think you're trying to say that taking pictures in public without feeling like a wally, right? I think you just got to get over it. And a real good tip for that one is do it in busy places. So if you're in the middle of London, no one is going to take a blind bit of notice. I've done it a million times, filming, lights on me. People just walk, they don't care. No one gives a crap. If you're in a village in the middle of Essex, then you're going to get every eyeball looking at you. And, you're just going to have to just deal with that one, I'm afraid. But I hope that's what you're trying to, anyway, whatever. I think I answered that correctly. And then Stuart saying, check your local library if they're still about for books. I don't know if we've still got one in round here. Oh, yeah, we have got a little one. We've got a little one down there. Yeah. Let's have a look at this one here. Sharon, I have just completed your beginner's course. I have loved photography for over 40 years and always use auto. Watching your videos have really helped me to understand taking photos on menu. I'm going to join the membership next week. Well done, Sharon. Thank you so much for your help. I enjoy watching and well done. Thank you. Yep, we'll welcome you on board, Sharon. We certainly will welcome you on board. Right. The thing is, there's so many questions that's come through. I've got time to read them all. And so if that's the case, I think I'm going to just leave it there then, guys, because it is, it's well over an hour. Loads of people are still tuned in. I want to thank you for watching. It's given me, I'm going to be doing that presentation at the photography show, but if you are coming to the photography show, please come and watch it again, because otherwise I'll just be sitting there on my own. I need people to come over and see me. So come and see. If you're coming to the photography show, definitely come over and see us anyway. You don't have to see the talk, but definitely come and see us. And if you're not coming to the photography show, then hopefully that has helped you out, especially if you're a beginner. I've really enjoyed it. Nothing more left for me to say. Thanks for all these comments that are coming through. Thank you, John. Thank you, Trevor. Randall is a hungry photographer there. And cheers to Jenna. Cheers to Brian. And remember to like. Oh, yeah. Don't forget to like. Do it right now. Before you do anything else, press that bloody like button. And if you ain't subscribed on the YouTube fan channel, do it right now, right? Don't even go and make your cup of tea or watch the EastEnders. Do it right now before you go anywhere, all right? Yeah, loads of people saying thanks. I really, really appreciate it. Right, guys, It's been a pleasure, as always. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.